Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Crypto Night Show. Your host Superman in the house. Well, we're going to do another awesome update on crypto majors. Obviously, it looks like we had a bit of a sell the news event, and so we're going to get into where the cryptos are now, where they might be going next week. So I hope you guys enjoy that. We're going to be covering Bitcoin, Ethereum, and of course Pulsechain as well. Looks like I need a new haircut, doesn't it? But hope you guys are doing well this weekend, having a good time. Yeah, don't forget to smash the subscribe on the way in. And a big welcome to all the new members over on Pulsechain X. Big shout out there, growing nicely. And if you're on X course, don't forget to hit the follow button, and more importantly, perhaps just smash the repost. Let's get it out and about. That's the way to go. All right, without further ado, let's get into the show and talk about crypto. No stock market today, of course, but let's get into the crypto majors here at the moment. So we're going to jump over to the CoinGecko and see where this is at the moment. So we're going to do a refresh because sometimes it gets a little stuck. So looks like we're total market cap at 2.67 trillion, down 1.7%. So a bit of a sell the news event after the Clarity Act, and of course some profit taking on the markets. We've got Bitcoin right now down 1.7% at 77,717. So really testing that downward trend. We'll have a look at that in the Bitcoin chart. Stay tuned for that. Down 3.6% for the week. Ethereum there down 2.6% at $2,169 at number 2, down 6.6% for the week. So, heavy discount there. We got BNB at number 4, down 2.8%, $651, but still up 0.6% for the week. So still holding up nicely there. XRP down 2.3%, 0.9% for the week at $1.40 at number 5. Number 7, Solana down 3.9%, 7.8% down. So even more than Ethereum, sitting at $85.77. Tron down up 0.5% and up 1% for the week at 35.3 cents at number 8. And finally, number 10 is a Dogecoin there. That is down 3.9%, but only 0.3 for the week, sitting at 10.8 cents. So those are our top 10 guys. Let's go to the best performer in the top 100. Well, we got Atom overnight up 4.3%, Stable up 3.5%. Monero up 0.9%, Hallock there up 0.7%, and Rain up 0.5%. So those are the top 5 in the top 100. Over the last week, though, a little different. Flare is up 11.2%, Quant number 2 up 9.4%, Just up 8.8%, and Dixie there up 7.8%, and Cosmos Atom there up 4.8%. So definitely a lot softer than it was probably a week ago with the old pullback there. Overall, in the top 1,000, we've got Xfair up 96%, OpenServe up 57%, and NextT up 44% in the top 1,000 right now. And trending overall, Asteroid, Shiba, Bitcoin, and Osmosis there up as well, trending over on CoinGecko. Let's zoom in, though, to Bitcoin. And Bitcoin, let's go into a little bit more detail there. We're on the daily here, so I haven't got the hourly, but obviously on the daily here, you can see that we were getting rejected after a bit of profit take. So see that run up though. Look at that run up. The run up was pretty amazing. And depending on where you take it, let's just take it from the 29th of March. Nice run up there of 27%. So 17,500. So a bit of perspective, on that run up. And now we've got a bit of profit taking going on. Now the beautiful thing about this run up is that we also had the 50-day moving up. And as you guys know, if the 50-day crosses the 200-day, that's a golden cross. Right, so we're in the death cross here ever since the October the November event, and then we got a death cross not long after, just over a month after actually, on the 16th of November. So we have got us down at 77.76. So we've got support here at a very important line. So 76,700 is the support line. So you would definitely want it to bounce from there. So 76,700. And then back up, right? Back up and continue on. Now, what do we got next week that might make that happen? Well, we got Michael Saylor's strategy, the number one digital asset treasury. It has its weekly update. As we know, it raised equivalents of about 25,000 Bitcoin last week. However, I suspect that 3/5 of that will be used for retiring convertible debt. And that's bullish longer term, but short term just mutes the upside. It depends on how the market sees that, but normally the market should price the future, and so therefore it's actually a pretty bullish thing to do, reducing their debt. I think debt's $8.5 8.5 billion, I think, from memory. Was it 10? It's either 10 or 8.5. I can't remember which one now. But we could go check on the strategy side anyway. That's certainly a significant reduction in debt, and that's essentially they'll probably just use most of the money they've raised from the debt market as opposed to issuing common shares or other means. So, or cash. They've got cash on hand as well. So we'll see what happens. Maybe they'll. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. They've got to keep a certain amount of cash, of course, for the dividends and things like that. So let's see where they go with that. But anyway, I like the long term plan, getting rid of the debt. We already see that with Strive, which we covered, I think, yesterday. So Strive is another sort of kind of similar, but not exactly the same as Strategy. But they are doing a pretty good job there with no debt as well. And of course, we have talked about Bitmine Immersion with Tom Lee on Ethereum, and they don't have any debt either. So I really like the fact no debt. That's a really strong thing, especially for these digital asset treasuries. So that is the mark we'll be looking for. We may not get there, but 76 700 is the key mark there. Let's see how we go. So if we do come down, but like I say, maybe tomorrow might be that last down day if we bounce off that 50-day, and then we get bullish news out of these, the DATs on a Monday, and then onwards on the way back up again, right? That would be the ideal. And then so we do have bullish news coming at the beginning of next week. So let's see. The other big thing, of course, is where's Bitcoin going? Well, we've got the power curve, right? This is power curve or power law is being very reliable, and it would be quite, I think, something like a standard deviation 3 to break this down a bit. So we so far so good though, right? So far so good, you can see. So we have. Let me just get to the right month here. So I got the right day. So let me see. Am I going to get in there? Yeah, the 25th. Let's take the 20. Let's take the 12th because I'm only a few days past that. So we got the midpoint at 161,000. That's the green line. We are currently, like what do we say? We're currently at 70, just under 78. We got the bottom line, the support line at 57. And the top line, that purple line, which everyone loves, of course, is 570K. So we're looking to revert back at least to the mean, but as you can see in the past, we've always gone above it and hit up towards that resistance line. Now we've had these little midpoints between the bear markets where we get this mid-market rally, and we've kind of had that arguably at 126K. So we're looking for this banana part of the curve, right? That banana part, and that looks like it's very much ahead of us, right? And this time, compared to those other times when we had kind of 4-year cycles / retail driving it and early crypto companies, we've now got the big players coming in, right? All the big banks, everyone is coming, and we're expecting a pretty strong rally, right? Pretty strong rally ahead. So that's kind of the narrative. And also, we've got all these big themes like tokenization and stablecoins and genetic AI, and all the rest of it, right? So it's the money's coming, the technology is rolling out, and the adoption is there with the applications, right? So it's all coming, converging on one, and we're looking forward to something really brilliant going forward. So that's kind of cool, particularly the next 18 to 24 months. That being said, we are expecting volatility this year around interest rates, monetary policy, and the new chair in particular. And of course, we've still got inflation issues exacerbated by the prolonged Strait of Hormuz affair. So we've still got variables like that. We also have a restructuring of the world's political order. We have, on one hand, you have Trump doing sort of MAGA / conservative positions, and then you have all the globalists still trying to push through radical left-wing progressive globalization Marxist ideas. So we've got this battle going on at the moment. Fortunately, America's the strongest out of them all by a country mile, so that's favors our position. So we're wanting, obviously Trump to win there, and so far so good. Now, obviously, dealing with some big issues around nuclear, terrorists with nuclear nukes. Progressives would never deal with that. They just let that go down the end of the line. And if a nuke start going off, they'd be say, oh, well, we couldn't do anything about it. Well, obviously as a conservative position, we're saying, yeah, we can. We're going to do something about it now, but we'll have to pay a short-term price for it, right, in terms of markets and things. And that's kind of what we saw initially, but markets then rallied out the other side, right? So there we go. We got Leechster in the house there. The Bulls are coming out to play. I like that one, Lisa. Yeah, looking forward to Monday's announcements for sure. So at the moment, we're just coming off the bottom, and so looking very good for the future, guys. No change. Short term, short term profit taking, short term seller news, but fundamentals are incredible, and so you got to have that long term view. I know a lot of people that like to suddenly get rich one day, and they want to get rich the next day, but then it comes back down. So just get used to it. You kind of investing, not trading, as it were. That's generally pretty good. But the next 18 to 24 months was where a lot of the magic money should be made. Just make sure you got the good stuff, right? And these pullbacks are a bit of a gift. Now, Ethereum, on the other hand, is really lagging. That being said, we've had some very good stuff happening. So why do we have, when we have digital asset treasuries start up last year, particularly towards the middle of the year with Bitmine immersion, they continued on. A lot of the other digital asset treasuries fell away, right? Remember that? They were all buying, and then they had big plans of raising $20 billion in buying. And those all seem to have fallen away at the moment, except for Bitmine immersion, which did deliver on its expectations. Currently got 5.2 million Ethereum, not over 90% of that staked as well, or in the staking queues. And then they've only needed another 800K or so to get to the end. Now it does look like Bitmine immersion bought another 90K yesterday, even though they said they were going to pull back on buys. But probably because the ETH price has gone down, and also a bit of gameplay maybe involved there. And they still had $700 million, so it looks like $200 million was spent yesterday. We'll see that on Monday with the Bitmine immersion release, and that's kind of the leading that, right? That's kind of the strategy of Bitcoin is Bitmine immersion for Ethereum. Now, as Michael Saylor is targeting, and other products in the DATs are targeting the debt markets to raise capital to buy Bitcoin off the market, Bitmine immersion is bringing over finance and doing retail mass adoption, right? So they're kind of different drivers happening there, and the Ethereum one just takes longer, right, if you're going to do that. And also Ethereum has staking, right, with the proof of stake as opposed to Bitcoin. So there's some key differences happening there. And so Ethereum there, I think we'll start getting some news along the finance play with what Tom Lee's doing in the second half of the year, right? Probably particularly at the end of Q3 or Q4. We'll see if that happens. And principally, I'm talking about maybe something happens with Orbs and OpenAI, sort of thing. But that's kind of a peripheral. But actually, what happens with WorldCoin and also of particular note, what happens with Mr. Beast Industries with their Leap banking app. And that's particularly something exciting. Also, Bitmine immersion is supposed to have their own apps. I'm not quite sure where these apps are going, because you'd think you just have one. So I'm not quite sure how they're going to play that. But ultimately, Ethereum will be the beneficiary, and mass adoption will come, right? And that particularly targets Generation Z and Generation Alpha, and a bit of millennials as well. That may be quite different from, say, the X Money wallet from X by Elon Musk, and where Dogecoin may benefit, because they're probably a slightly older crowd, is my guess. So we'll keep a look out for that. But anyway, Ethereum here down at 21.71, so a nice little gift in the hand again. We're right at the top of this range. Did you notice that box, orange box? So it would be nice for us to at least bounce somewhere from 21.50. That's the mark, right? 21.50 is the bottom of this moving average as well. So we've got quite a bit of an area there. So 21.50 would be a nice mark to bounce from. Excuse me. And so let's see how we go. We were rolling up here on the 50 moving average as well, and then dipped back down. Even we're seeing a little bit of that in the Bitcoin chart now, but we're already down below the 50, whereas Bitcoin's coming down to the 50. So Bitcoin bouncing is going to be pretty important next week, and hopefully the Michael Saylor strategy stuff is enough to pick it up, right? With enough a couple of days of profit taking as well in the swing there. So hopefully we get to move back up. And so that's a bit of a gift in the hand right now. And of course, Tom Lee looks like he may have been buying another 90,000 ETH. That would mean that they only need about a 700 or so ETH left to get to 5%. It's also put downward pressure on the MNAV as well for Bitmine immersion. I saw numbers around 0.91. Not sure if that's probably maybe that close. We'll see, but I'll try and double check on those. All right. Let's jump over to the what I haven't looked at this for a while, but the Ethereum to Bitcoin ratio, and we're all the way down. Look at this. I mean, we're down now to 0.27. So I'll just put it in percentage terms, 2.7% of Bitcoin price. So it's we're really on the weak side here on the daily. And if we go for a weekly look on the view here, we it's pretty weak, not the weakest we've had. The weakest was back in April 27. We were all the way down at 1.8%, just under 1.8%. So pretty dire. And if we go to the monthly chart, which is probably good for looking at the other cycles, 2021 when we had the bull market on, we got as high as close to 9%. And that 9% is going to be really key later on. Can we get to an all-time high ratio to Bitcoin for Ethereum once Ethereum breaks out? Because this is going to happen eventually, and I'm pretty confident it's going to happen in the next 18 to 24 months. Because of finance coming over and all those mass adoption things that we talked about earlier, and of course tokenization, stable coins, Genic AI, and of course the Clarity Act, if that does go through, we'll obviously add on top of that as well. So we're at 2.8%. So keep a look out for this. It's going to be pretty interesting. We've got the average here, 50 moving average, currently at 4.1%, and of course that's quite a re-rate there. Tom Lee, of course, talking about if we do get if Bitcoin gets to 250K or something, and we do get to like the average, then we start, average or even the all-time high ratio to Bitcoin, between, maybe, I can't remember what the average is, but we've got the moving average here at 4.2%. And we get to all-time high around just under 9%, then we're getting in that range between $12,000 and $22,000. So I think that was the mark there, yeah. So that would be pretty exciting. And of course, if we get a payment rails / re-rate, then we go to 25%, like make a new all-time high ratio, and the Bitcoin's at 25K, then you're starting to move up to 60K, right? $60,000. That's kind of the logic there. So if that was Bitcoin got to 1 million and you had a ratio of 25, then you got $250,000 per Ethereum. That's the logic there. But that's further down the track. I wouldn't be putting that in the next 18, 24 months. But I think 12 to 22K within a 24-month period is definitely doable. And that's kind of where I feel like the price might go to. So we'll keep a lookout for that. All right, Mr. Beast, bring on Mr. Beast. So that is the ETH ratio there. Let's jump over to the Pulsechain and have a look at Pulsechain right now. So Pulsechain, of course, just celebrated its 3rd birthday back on the 13th/14th, a couple of days ago. And we're now on day 1,100. Can you believe it? I think that's pretty cool. So birthday and 1,100 days, not bad. Yeah, pretty good. All right, so we've got Pulse at the moment, and it is currently at 50738. So 50738. We're down 1% today. Not too bad. We're fighting the battle, right? Fighting the battle for above the 7,000 to find the bottom on Pulse. So far, so good. I feel like we're going to get jinxed, but I'm hoping not, right? Hoping not. We're going to talk about the chart in a minute. We've got Hex at the moment on Pulsechain. P-Hex just under 0.13 of a penny, down 0.8%. We've got ApproveX at the moment, around 4.054, down 1.2%. We've got PulseX at the moment is at 5.06, is almost flat. And then Ink Token apparently 34 cents is flat as well. So PulseX and Ink flat. That's pretty encouraging. Let's have a look at the validators. We haven't really had much change since Rack and Michelle did another 1,000 voters for Coin Mafia. We're at 50,927, all-time peak 54,000, notably based on this data. Pretty crazy. The APR that they're earning is 8.35% at the moment. You can see some other details there as well. Total Pulse staked apparently is 1.64 trillion. So not bad. Public service, public good there right now. Gas prices, we've been around 600,000. Yeah, we're still around that, 686,000 beats. It is currently 103 Pulse for a Pulsex swap. So sitting at US dollars is 0.00076 cents at the moment for a Pulsex swap, apparently. It's always different when you go to do it though, right? It's always different. Pulsechain stats bridge. So we're at the bottom of our local low here, or long-term low from the looks of it, 53.34 million. So we are looking for some capital to flow over. We have had a bit in the last few hours, I think. So I'm not sure whether this takes into that daily update yet. I don't think we've updated, but our local high was up at 59 mil, and we're down at 53. So about 6 million down since about the 25th of April, and you can see it in the chart. Looking at the daily, what do we got? Daily inflow is 520, and daily outflow is 208. So today is positive 312, which is pretty good. I think yesterday was 2, so, or at least maybe not, but this is positive, so very good. So another 300k there. Was it Liberty Swap? I don't know. Liberty Swap haven't done something like that? I don't know. But that is it on the bridge. So those are the key majors. Let's zoom in on Pulsechain, just like we did for Bitcoin and Ethereum. We've got the fight is on. The fight is on. Day 1100 days, guys. I mean, come on, that's pretty neat. We've had quite the journey, but we are having a fight on now, and we have some different structure going on in the chart, which is kind of encouraging. But which way is it going to break? That's the question, right? Presumably, this long sideways consolidation movement is bullish for the upside, but no guarantees, right? No guarantees. Well, actually, we've got a little bit of a guarantee, and we got the RSI down here, has been down here for many, many weeks. These are weekly candles, by the way, and that is encouraging to the upside, right? So more probable than not, in my view, that we've got an upward move breaking out, and if we do, we have to reach certain levels so that we can start breaking this mega downtrend for 36 months, this big yellow long downtrend. That we can finally break it and start moving back up. Now, what that looks like when we move back up, another question, how steep is it? How many parabolics, how many structures do we have moving up? That's all question mark. But one of the key ones, in my view, is the first move, right? And the first move would be that we obviously need 2 higher highs and higher lows, right? That'd be very encouraging to give us more probability. After that, maybe move sideways for a bit. I don't know. We'll see. But the first move would be encouraging if we got over 1200 and then moved up to 1700, and then we came back down, because there's always some people that bought down here nice and cheap that want to sell their 2-3x, right? So and that comes back down to 1200. We test that, and then we move forward over time. Now, this period should also align with the bullish news out of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin driving this positivity, and they're flying onto Ethereum, and then Pulsechain ultimately in a delayed fashion. You always have a bit of rotation, right? So you've got to take that into account, how much we see that too, especially now that we've come down so far. And then whether a market maker decides to come in as well. So there's little wild cards there. So we've got some very interesting structures. This is very different from what we've seen before. Even when we had periods like this back here in November, we had like 5 weeks in a row. They're very wide, very wide volatilities there, and then a big downer, right? Whereas now we've got 8 weeks, much more tighter. And when we did have this sort of 5-week period, we had the RSI coming down, right? And it was still, just coming down below 50. So whereas here, we're down just above the oversold periods, which is encouraging. I mean, we can always go down further, right? And this is a little delayed, right? So RSI is a very good guide, but it's a slightly delayed mechanism. So it's better, there are much better forward-looking mechanisms in terms of TA indicators. But generally, it's a nice little rule of thumb. And if you're new to crypto, it's great to use the RSI generally to see whether something's overbought, oversold, and you can use it on a 4-hour time frame, etc. And that way you can sort of kind of avoid, even if it's slightly lagging, because obviously the price can stay elevated when you think, oh, that's actually oversold, and it can stay elevated for a few more hours or whatever. So, but generally a great guide to telling you whether you're buying something in a zone that's overbought or oversold, and very reliable in that regards, just as a general metric. So, because a lot of people come into crypto and they have no idea, and they buy the tops, and then they go, why did I lose 80% of my move, or whatever. And so the RSI will really help you, protect you from that. And then you can just say, well, I saw the RSI was really overbought or oversold, and I didn't buy, or I bought, either conversely, and then it's on you, right? It's on you. It's on you. I wasn't ignorant. I just ignored the obvious in front. So at the moment, that's kind of where we are. So let's see how we get on. And of course, if in percentage terms, we're defending this yellow line down the bottom, which is 7,000. I've just rounded it up, right? Slightly below 7, but that move would be a one a 140% move, so 2.4x, and then coming back at 72%. So that's kind of the idea there. Obviously, we'll see what happens there, but that would be a 28% pullback. That would be a strong move, right? Like if I think about a third pullback, that's a strong move that the market's still got lots of buying pressure and can absorb any sellers that are making mad gain profits. Percentage of the market that does that bought off the bottom. But if it came back 2/3, then it's a real weak, right? Real weak buying, and that wouldn't be good. So if we came back, 2/3, I wouldn't be very keen on that. So if we came back, let me get a ruler again. We came back from 1700 and we went back all the way back to like almost like back here, 44% pullback on this move, back to below the 5 zeros. That'd be a very weak move, right? I wouldn't be very keen on that. Because we want to kind of stay, particularly on the weekly, stay above this 1200 mark, which would mean if we lose a zero, so we go from 5 zeros to 4 zeros, and then we stay at 5 zeros 1200. That'd be kind of cool, but that's still not enough, right? Because this is kind of our lower highs coming in here at 1200, and then we got support at 507,000. So we definitely want to get over this, get our first higher high here, and then make the low what was a lower high here. That's kind of and then we want to get another one ultimately over time. And certainly we're moving into June and July. This is a very bullish time for strategy, and microstate strategy, because they are raising billions of dollars in capital through their stretch product, buying up heaps of Bitcoin, which is really sucking all the Bitcoin out. And then we've got ETFs that are also buying, whales buying, and of course it's microstate strategy is almost going to get the psychology of forcing them to buy too, because they're taking all the Bitcoin, and therefore everyone's going to have to buy at a higher price. It's kind of the logic. And Bitcoin on exchanges is reducing, particularly what's available for sale as well. So we've got all that sort of thing happening. So it's going to be pretty incredible. And then, of course, they're moving to bi-monthly dividends, which means it's going to flatten out the days towards raising more capital. So instead of the average of like 10 days, or in the last month we saw quite late, I think it was almost 17, 18 days, we're going to get, maybe 3 to 5 days. And then more capital raising and buying Bitcoin on a more regular basis, and that will flatten out that capital raise sort of volatility or delay. So I think that's very exciting. And so we're entering that era here coming up. But we do have big macro variables that are negative. So that's hyper positive for Bitcoin itself and potentially crypto. And we've got Clarity Act at the same time, pushing through June, July, right? But on the negatives, we've still got, the high oil prices, Australia and Moose stuff, dragging out. Now, I think strategically it's very good for the Trump and the White House position, because they've just got this blockade, right, which is just basically pushing, the oil. They've got nowhere to store it now, and it's all going to have magnified impacts from now on, pretty much on the Iranian economy, right? So it makes it much more difficult. But we're dealing with people with terrorist ideologies who, have apocryphal end of the world type of view, right? So they want to usher in the end of the world. That's basically the idea. So whatever calamity happens to their own Iranian people, they don't really care in that view. So, but they're facing a two-sided battle, one against their own people. Ultimately, if they take the country down that far, and also they won't have all the money for their rockets and bombs and things. So there's a lot of pincering going on there. But so we've got that going on, and also obviously the monetary policy and interest rates with Kevin Walsh coming in as the new chair. And he's pro crypto, and he's probably more dovish than normal, and looking at economic growth to be high as well. You normally wouldn't want that if you weren't doing supply economics. That's what Democrats don't. They don't expand supply very well. They're bad managers. But generally on the Republicans, we get good managers, and under Trump's policies, we're getting good supply expansion, and that's why they're also winning out of a lot of the geopolitics that they're making, because they tend to benefit with all the oil prices and new customers coming to get American oil, right? And they're at record levels of barrels per day now in the US. So it's all going pretty good there. All right, so we'll keep a lookout for that. So very optimistic, more probable than not, based on everything I just said. So we'll keep a lookout for that. But certainly 7,000 ski mark. Hey, look, I mean, if there's someone is big enough to send the chart down, it's going to happen, right? So that's the bear scenario. So I thought I'd quickly cover that at the end. But we've had a lot of exhaustion with sacrifices. Hopefully they're finished, and the contracts, exploitable contracts, are pretty much done, or exploitable in some manner, are pretty much done, like make a compound, etc. So there's a little bit of stuff going on with some other stuff at the moment, but I don't see that impacting the chain. All right, so that's kind of where we are. All right, so let me know your thoughts on that one. All right, so let's get to the top markets here. So we are on a weekend, so we typically will have lower volume. We've got Hexvader in the house. Hey, gang, tuning in while I'm running from a tornado. That sounds awesome. You should be videoing that. You could do a whole movie on that one. All right, so we got total volume at the moment on DEX Screener says 2.8 million. So we're on a weekend, so it's even lower. We're typically been between about 3.3 and 3.6 million, I think, during the week. And I think we had one blip a week ago or something at 4.6 or something. But we're at 2.8 million this weekend, and it's it's pretty low, right? So it's not a high amount. We're still ranked at number 7, the chains, I should say, on DEX Screener. But that's where we are now. We have Pulsechain doing most of the volume, right? So 2.8 million. We got Pulsechain doing 2.5, so about 300k is in other dexes. So we've got 9mm doing 200, so that suggests 100k is distributed by all the other dexes. Now we know that we've got Switch X, which we're going to talk about today from Brandon. That's just launched, and that's still doing, I think, decent volume. So we might check on that too. But that's probably making up a lot of the difference in volume there on the old DEX Screener. And what DEX Screener doesn't pick up some of the, I think we've got 1 or 2 balancer forks that are still doing decent volumes. Doesn't pick that up either, right? I should have it up every day when we're doing the volumes, but it is what it is. Pulse Guy, that is number 1 today. So part of the Peacock community of tokens. Is up 17%, so nice little jump there with the old Peacock. Let's have a quick look at Pulse Guy. They're doing about 10 different types of DeFi projects, some sort of thing like DeFi related projects at least. I think they were the ones that were originally at the recent conference. Or was that a Bitcoin conference or something like that? They're at some conference recently as well. So they're currently 00018. So a little bit of a jump in the chart there on the daily. So that's from the Pulse Guy. I should probably zoom in on a little bit of these Pulse Peacock other projects. I don't really cover them enough, do I? In fact, virtually I don't. But I always just say they're associated, but I don't really get into what they're doing. So maybe I'll do a bit of that going forward. Amiga DAO from the Cabal King, and technology supported from Nexian, as I understand it. That is on the move. One of our more popular DeFis recently. Successful DeFis recently. Now you buy Amiga, you lock it away up to 10 years, which gives you a multiplier impact on the rewards distribution. It's got a 5% tax, 3.5% goes to buy Hex, and so you're accumulating Hex, and then there's other burning and mechanisms, things like that, treasuries going on. But the chart's looking incredible. 000448, and we're only how many days into it though? 20 days, so it's still early days, but it's doing very well. And a lot of projects can launch and die within days, right? But not this one. This one's continuing on. So this has got the pulse ratio. Now we did interview the Cabal King, so you can check out that live stream. It was really great. And Cabal King was on there. Go check it out. He goes through Amiga, and there's more stuff coming down the path for the Cabal's vision for DeFi, and no doubt Amiga included in that. So keep a lookout for that. But the ratio at the moment, 60. Amiga per pulse, so kind of cool. We've got market cap 441k, liquidity 54, and volume at 2.2. So volume still, this is the key part, right? Because if you're earning reflection, you want to be tracking the volumes. So it's been doing about 2.5 days. At some threes here. Make sure I'm on the right one here. Let me just go to US dollars. Sorry, apologize for that. I'm going to get US dollars here. So yeah, we're doing around. It doesn't actually tell me, what is it? What's the volume candle? Oh yeah, there's over there. Actually doing about 6k a day. Yesterday I only did 2,700, but before that was doing about 5 to 6k a day, maybe even higher, up to 8k, 8.5k on some of these days. So volume is kind of important to follow because that's going to impact your daily yield, right? Daily yield with 5% taxes. So just a bit lower today. We are on the weekend, so the weekdays were quite nice. Let's see what happens next week. where those weekdays can pop up there as well. Because if you've got 2K and you're earning 8K, that's 4 times more revenue, right? That's flowing through. So that's kind of the idea there. But once again, this looks like it's going to be part of a broader eco map, and your main reward is Richard Hart's Hex token, or PX there. So taken away on that one. Now, I did have a little update we're going to go through there. And because we're going to do a little thing, we're going to sorry, what am I trying to say? We're going to do a few things different here. So we've got Amiga DAO. So we're not just covering the big utilities, going to probably cover some of the top DeFi protocols. Now, they all have their risks and they all have their upsides, right? So just take note of that. You have to do your own due diligence. But these are some of the ones that have been pretty popular recently and run by some pretty well-known community members. So imagine the equivalents earning equivalents of 50K Bitcoin, absolutely, they say. Hex was designed as faster, cheaper, more technical, advanced. Obviously, staking Hex 15 years earns 12% at the moment, interesting enough. Stake Amiga from Flex and staking up to 10 years and earn passive Hex yield, averaging around 9% APR depending on protocol activity, which is what I was talking about with the volumes there. And staking weight, obviously, the longer you stake, the more of the revenue you get. And so Amiga there built around hyperdeflationary long-term convictions, Hex yield, DAO governance, auto liquidity expansion, time-weighted staking multipliers there. So taken away. And I must say, I was hyper impressed with the website and the tokenomics layout. Very clear, very clean. So that was pretty cool. So that's from Amiga. And let's see what else they got on the updates here. They got a cool little diagram. You got to love these little diagrams now. So that's kind of an overview, and that is Amiga there. So I'll post a link to Amiga if you guys want to check it out in more details. We're going to go through quite a few projects here, so we're doing at least six that we're going to be covering. So you guess the first one, Amiga there from Cabal King, the Cabal King. All right, so that's kind of cool. That's ranked number 2 today, so it's top performer. P Mint here, a little bit shabby this one. Now, people, there are people out there promoting P Mint with their referral, and it's all about PDI, right? But look, it's 5% today, but it's also you got to do diligence on this one. I don't know how safe it is or anything like that, so just take note of that. All right, so 94. Let's look at that's the current price is at 15 cents at the moment for P Mint. Gizmo up 5%. Gizmo there, been around for 3 months. That's up 5%. Zen, which is tied into Peacock ecosystem, just like Pulsechain up here. They're doing their own sort of DeFi things too, and I will try and go into those a bit more in the future. That's up 4.5%. Atropa from James Maria up at 3.8% at number 6. Number 7 is Zero. So we've got quite a few Peacock ones in play right now that are up modestly, 3.5%. So let's have a quick look at Zendog versus Peacock. Just to have a quick look at that chart. We're going to go to the dailies. That's a daily chart there. So not looking the greatest in US terms. What about in Peacock terms? Peacock terms on the day. Let's go to the weekly because there's quite a few days there. Let's log that too. So yeah, it's at the bottom at the moment on the old Zendog there. I haven't actually looked. I can't remember off the top of my head what they're actually doing in the space, but that's there. This is the one that may be underperforming. This is the Zendog one. Obviously, it is in the charts, but I think some of the others are doing better. Zero Trust at number 7 is up 3.5%, and that's also tied to the Peacock universe. Let's go to the weekly candles as well. You can see, boy, that's pretty all over the place. I've got some big sort of triangle thing happening there. Let's go to the Peacock ratio, though. That's kind of the king. Are you earning more Peacock? Well, it's come all the way down. It bounced off 0.27 Peacock per zero. It's now at 0.32 Peacock per zero at the moment. But I think they're doing quite a lot in the DeFi space as well. Once again, I don't have enough time to look at those today because it's not what we're looking at, but we will have a look at all the Peacock, these sort of trifecta ones later on. Tropa, obviously another pair there, number 6 and number 8. We got the Pump Tires Die. So this is not PDI or EDI or anything like that, or Good Die. This is Pump Tires Die. That's up 2.3% off the old Pump Tires. His weekly candles, and it looks like we've come off the bottom there at 4 zeros 94. We're now at 3 zeros of 1500, which is not a lot better. Let's look at pulse ratio though. And as the weekly candles, not too bad, is it? The old Pump Tires Die was down at 10, is now up at 20. pulse per DAI. So it's a 2x in your pulse. Recently been high, almost at 25. So that's pretty good gain in your pulse there. When pulse is down, what are you trying to do? Gain more pulse. Gain more pulse, yeah, boy. So anything that's winning on the pulse at any time, really, but particularly now, is kind of cool. So if we do get a recovery and an uptrend reversal, then it's golden, right? Golden. And then number 10, making it today. So been down a little bit last couple of weeks is Peacock. Now, when I say down, not really moving up. And about 3 weeks ago, I think it was, there were a couple of page 1 and 2 holders that were selling down. And I just from memory, I mean, this is just a general comment, maybe about 4 of them, 4 counts that were quite large. These are probably some of them may be early OGs, like from the pump tires itself. And so you got to rotate them out anyway. And that's true of all pump tires, right? You got to rotate out some people that are in the profits and redistribute tokens. So also Peacock, Liberty Swap has been buying up Peacock, giving price support. But today it's still sitting around 1.1 cent. It's been there for quite a bit, and it's up 1.7% today. Now the big thing, of course, is Liberty Swap. I've got lots of big things coming, so let's go have a look at Liberty Swap now and check that out. But before we do that, let's have a quick look at the chart, and you can see. Let me go full screen on this and get rid of the RSI. You can see on the weekly, we break down from that little triangle thing on the US dollars. So we're kind of testing this range that we had support way back here. But more importantly is the pulse ratio. Let's go have a look at that. And we can see that we are just bouncing off the 21 weekly average. So that's kind of a good zone. And it's fairly supported there. We're at 1,500 pulse per Peacock. We've been as high as 2,000, right? So all in all, not too bad. The fees from Liberty Swap that have been applied, at least because they've earned more than what they've bought on the market because they're using it for ETH and Pulse liquidity and treasury, from the looks of it, is pretty good overall. And you've managed to get rid of a few large page 1 and 2 accounts, either partly or fully. So it's kind of play there. That was a couple of weeks back, though. I don't think we've really seen any really large sellers for the last few weeks there. All right, so Liberty Swap, one of our top 2 big Kraken projects on Pulsechain, and that is, they got an update 8 hours ago. We at Liberty Swap, ZKX wallet, of course, was their last big launch, and they're doing a big update of that. Hopefully we'll get that this weekend. Want to build the most secure DeFi trading interface into crypto, a place where users can trade anything they want across chains, on-chain trading. So they got all this nice big update there. Kind of cool. What else have we got there? Just trying to see where they had in. They often have lots of good reply comments. Let's see here. Now, always make sure you use official links because there's lots of people trying to scam Liberty Swap, set up websites. Liberty Swap reports them to like Google and stuff, but Google is really bad, right? I mean, Google, there should be they should be going to court because they really have allowed scammers on Google worldwide to advertise, to set up links and stuff like that, and they're really bad at getting them down. YouTube used to be bad at that too. I think I'm not sure how bad they are now, but Google is definitely bad. So you've got to be careful out there, guys. Make sure you use a Liberty Swap official links. Looks like they're moving into AI agents too, from the looks of it, a little bit here. Sooner or later, those crooks will be in jail. Yeah. Let's scroll back up here a little bit more. Just trying to see whether they've got anything particular. Yeah, so we are expecting an update. So some of the key things, obviously the wallet is going to get a major upgrade after its first launch. And if you haven't tested it out, definitely test it out. Crypto Coffee's done a cool video. I think he set up a wallet and testing it out. And then secondly, we're looking for the yield product to come up, and they've got lots of other things in the mix. They basically have said they're just getting started in DeFi rollout. So they're going to be hooking in a lot into this ecosystem. It's going to be quite a large ecosystem leading Pulsechain ultimately, because I don't know, there's no other teams, at doing this stuff that, maybe not even capable of doing it. So it's pretty exciting stuff moving forward here as well. So look out for that yield product, and that yield product could multiply the amount of revenue that they get, and ultimately benefit Peacock. And of course, there is going to be a wallet airdrop as well at some stage, and I think memory it was 70% was going to go to Peacock, but obviously that has to be finalized with the team. They can always change their mind. We got Wookie in the house there. Up the wires, says Wookie, our community leader from Discord is here. Great to see you, and up the wires indeed. talking about the Warriors in the league there. Hopefully they're going to do well this season. All right, so that's Liberty Swap, guys. So let's jump away from there. That is where we are there. So it's the top 10. Top 10 to very modest gains. Only stand out on the leaderboard here, at least for the default view on DexGreen, is Pulse Guy and Amiga. I guess P-Mint, but I don't know much about that yet. Haven't really had the time to zoom in on that. Number 12 is mixed in the mix. Oh, we got a few movers here. We've got Emmett moving up, guys, just as we're doing the live stream. So Emmett has powered its way through in the last couple of minutes into the top 10, and that is we're going to talk about Emmett, so that's good timing. It is now up 2.9% at number 7, so that's kind of cool. We've got Top at number 12, and that is up 1.5%. But let's jump into Emmett Farm because we're going to talk about it. So that's kind of cool. So Emmett Farm, of course, is and overall, it's got the most peers. It's got the most advanced economics and kind of the leading farm on Pulsechain, I think, quite easily. Maybe not from all innovation aspects, but certainly overall is a leading farm and offers high APR. And not just high APR for a month, but it's well over a year now, and it is crushing it, isn't it? It's doing an incredible job. So you can stake Emmett and earn ETH rewards. That single-side staking, one of the key features of winning. But they also have virtually all the top popular farms. So if you've got tokens in lots of different top projects, you can probably farm it there for high APR, generally speaking. Is pretty good. So Emmett Farm's doing pretty amazing stuff there. They're communicating and updating all the time, as you can see. ZKP, you can do that too. Obviously, another project from Kairos, and Kairos, they're really leading the way, always doing updates to yields as well. Very impressive, and of course, 5% tax on the Emmett. But that has been working like a charm, isn't it? Absolute champion there. We'll quickly go to the farms to have a look at that. But it's holding up there pretty nicely. Let's go to the chart. It's US dollar terms and weekly, and we're at $1.26. And in terms of the pulse ratio, we are looking pretty good too. Let's go to the weekly, and that is the weekly chart. Amazing, right? I mean, come on. That is a farm like this. Is this arguably the best farm in the world? We're talking about DeFi income, right? Not general, what we might call passive income, but DeFi income, high risk, high return, and this chart's amazing. So, you know, the Kairos has absolutely crushed it, isn't he? And over a year, well over a year now. I think we might be 14 months in, is it? Something like that. And the APR on single-side staking is 130%, and there is $230,000 in there right now. You also have non-single-side staking. You got Emmett Pulse, Emmett DAI, Emmett Provex, Emmett Inc., Emmett Pulsex. All of those are also around 130% APRs. One of them a bit lower, 118. And then you have non-Emmett farms like Pulsex. They're obviously a lot more modest, but you're still earning a pretty damn good yield on those. Obviously, you got impermanent loss issues relative to tokens, but 24, 13%. And then you got all these popular teams like Pulse Bitcoin, 50% there on Pulse Emmett. Vouch, top liquidity providers like Rocket Pool or Lido on Ethereum. So Vouch does liquid staking for validators, a number one validator on Pulsechain, and you've got all that there going on there. So they've got 140% APR here on VPulse Emmett. OMG. I mean, it's impressive, right? The ZK Knowledge Printer, obviously you earn as ProveX tokens from Richard Hart, and we're going to cover that briefly as well. So you got all this going on: Pulsechain Store, RhinoFi, Ink Printer, True Farm, Pump Tires, you name it, they're all on here. Pulsechain influencer coins, all sorts of stuff. The greys, so all high yield. So check that out. That is pretty impressive there on Emmett Farms. I'll post the link there to that as well. That is Emmett Farms, bam. But if you're after high yield DeFi, it's doing a pretty good job. There's also True Farms, of course, out there too. We're going to briefly talk about that, but that is Emmett Farms, bam. All right, so let's move on and let's get into the next one. So that's looking pretty good. We're going to scroll down there a little bit here. So what else have we got? Number 16 is Source on Mini Mill. That's at 3.9 cents. So it's definitely come down. It was sitting around 5.5 cents, wasn't it, for a while? They're still here on Pulsechain, so not sure what's happening there. Wolfgang, as I think is the CEO, up 1/5%. Ink token there at the moment, up slightly as well. Teddy Bear there from James Maria, up slightly in green. So it's number 18. So everything else is in the reds. But I think Pulse was down 1.6%, right? So anything that's doing better than that is better than Pulse. And that means about 58 coins are doing better equal to or better than Pulse. So there we go. And that happens to be Hex, where Hex is. So that's funny. We've got True Farms here, like Emmett Farms at 60 cents at the moment, down 1.4%. We've got ProveX at the moment from Richard Hart, sitting at, where's ProveX? It's sitting at 405,440. What else is going interesting here? I think that's it. ZKP sitting here pretty much even. So that was pretty cool. Now we're going to talk about ZKP from, this is also Kairos, who does Emmett Farms, and you earn ProveX here with the staking. So that's kind of cool. Let's jump into that. So they had some updates. This is on the 15th, so this is 2 days old now, but they had 826 million ProveX distributed to participants, 351 million ProveX and growing in the staking contract. So if you participate, you still get access to some of this contract, some of the ProveX in there. So it's pretty cool from them. So they're ticking away. Not bad, not bad, not bad. And that's on zero knowledge printer. Let's go have a look at the website there quickly. I'll post the link to this one if you guys want to check out ZKP and some ProveX. That is the one there from ZKP. That's also Kairos from Emmett Farms, and a leading DeFi offering here, earning ProveX, which is Rich Hart's peer-to-peer ZK technology. So it's kind of cool. Zero knowledge printer there, pretty awesome. You can easily go and stake it too. So it's got all the explanations. It's so easy to follow. Volume generates rewards flow to stakers, and volume driven yield. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Obviously do own due diligence on this, but ticking away there right now. Don't know why. There we go. That's the staking there. You can stake your ZKP in here, and then you can claim your ProveX. Pretty easy. That is pretty cool. All right, so that is a ZKP, and the chart's looking pretty good. Let's look at the pulse ratio on this one, and let's go to the weekly as well. It's been around not that long, but it's still looking at pretty good. 52 with a high of 67 or so. Recent low 4 weeks ago of 38. So it's looking pretty good there. And the volumes are key, right? So turning over, amazing volumes, guys. 40K, 47, 37. A bit down this week, but I don't know what day this is up to, 11th of May. So maybe, yeah. So, but that volume is pretty incredible. Earning the reflection tokens on that, kind of cool. All right, let's scroll down a bit further down here and pick off a few more since we're having fun. Since we're having fun here. Let's see what else we got going. We go down right further down here. Vouch, we talked about that already. Switch from Brandon. Let's go to this one. So Brandon just launched our third main DEX, I guess you could say it is, and we're at 4 cents right now. So it's come down a little bit from the first high. This is the daily chart. So let's go to the 4 hour, shall we? 4 hour chart. Pretty weird kind of profile, isn't it, on the chart? And we're at 4 cents right now. Market cap 553K. And I think 9mm is at 1.1 million, I think, right? So it's less than, about half of that, isn't it? Down 3% today, 13K volume. Now, volume's pretty key, right, on the DEX. Now, the DEX is not showing up yet, but presumably, Brandon's working on that. It's got unknown DEX listing, so presumably that's operating. If we click on this factory, we'll see the DEX peers, and it will show up all the peers that are on that. At least that DEX screen is picking up, and you can see the liquidities on the top there. So there's a couple of them moving up. In fact, it looks like it's actually getting slightly bigger, which is good. That's what you want, right? And they're adding more peers, which we're going to talk about. So that should show up behind 9mm and in front of 9-inch once it's all registered properly, right? So that should be coming. Brandon did have an update 12 hours ago. He says, "Good morning. New trading peers are now available on SwitchX for community voting. Pulse paired with PulseX, Pulse paired with DAI, and Pulse paired with presumably PX, right? There are these are some of the first new liquidity pools added since launch, focusing on strengthening trading across major Pulsechain tokens. If you hold voting power on Switch, you can now vote to send more rewards incentives towards these pools." So there we go. That is in play. And so can we see that? PulseX index? I guess we can. We got PulseX. What did we say we had? PulseX and PulseX DAI and Hex. So we've got PulseX, DAI, and was Hex here somewhere? Hex. So there they are there. So the Hex Pulse one is 20K. The Pulsechain one started off at 2K, but obviously it's designed for LP providers to provide LP, so we'll keep a look out for that. Volume 43K. Now I would like to see it get up to 100K minimum. That's what I'd like to see. Obviously it's just building, it's just the beginning. We saw that on the first day, right? The first day. But I'd like to see that move up and then the transactions. And that's all just a function of ramping up. He's just ramping up. As we can see, he's been doing announcement. It's been going for what, 3 days? And he's done an announcement essentially ramping up things every day, essentially. Kind of cool. All right, so that's kind of cool. Should we have a quick look at the sites? No, Switch in. I think it's Switch X, isn't it? Switch X somewhere. Where'd it go? Where did it go? Okay, let's come back down here. There it is, Switch X5. Let's quickly see what that looks like. So analytics, is it? I guess it's the right one. Total value locked, drum roll. So still sitting pretty similar to yesterday, 196K. Obviously we've got the cores down a little bit. Volume 43K, that matches up pretty much with what we're seeing, right? 43K on DexGreener, nice. That's always nice when it happens. Fees, 58K. Sorry, $58 right now. So that's a little surprising, but we're still ramping up. So, where might that go? Obviously, with Pulse rallies and everything else, these can go up to, thousands and stuff. So we'll keep an eye out on the fees. First day was about 750 to 850, somewhere in that, wasn't it? So we'll see whether it can prop up the fees there. I'm not quite sure what's driving that. Now, with the fees, if you go to the rewards, you earn, is it votes? I have to go to votes here, do I? Yeah, so there's got Epoch here, 122,800 Switch. Weekly budget directed by votes. So everyone that votes, that owns, if you got V-Switch, you can do that by locking or burning and locking, essentially. Burning, locking, you lose your principal, basically. And then we've got the allocations here with the pool. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Remember, we started off, I think, with 3 or 4, so we're definitely going up there. And we've got the Hex Pulse pairs, right? So these are incentivizing these new pools that got announced in the last 12 hours. And you can see they've only got a small amount of votes in them. Most of the votes there, 16 million are voting for Switch rewards, USDC, but I don't see much voter rewards in there, so that's a little bit weird. And then we've got USDC Pulse, that's 8 million V-Switch votes in the DAO, and that's $73. VAPR there, 1.1%. And they got USDC DAI here, 2.8, but they got $26 in there. And then they got this reward thing. So there's a little bit of detail there to get your head around. And that is votes cast apparently 98%. So there was a big jump yesterday because it was only at like 3%, and then it got jumped all the way to 98. So it's a big player, there. All right, it's a big player. Now remember, the first day, 30 million tokens were allocated, 15 million were burnt and put into V-Switch, I believe, as a treasury. I think that's how it's working, and that may be what a big move in the votes are. And then the other 15 million were like retail and including LP. And a lot of people have been burning that. So how many people have been burning it? That's kind of interesting. Should we go have a look? Let's go have a look and see how much people have been burning the Switch, either through the protocol or through their own, picking up V-Switch and burning their tokens. Let's see where it is right now. Kind of interesting. So this is a V4, right? So we got Pulsex V2, 9mm V3, and Switch X V4, essentially, kind of the idea. We're still sitting pretty similar to yesterday. So we're still down about 1.5 million switches being gone burger. Let's say goodbye, which is kind of cool. I'd like to see it continue on. I mean, that'd be even more bullish. There's going to be 1 billion tokens total ever supply, less burning. So just remember that in the future. So there is an emission over 2.5 years. Give you an idea there. So we're following it. It's kind of interesting. Obviously, we would like it to see it be one of the big players on the Pulsechain with the V4 DEX. We'll keep a look at that. I was going to say one more thing about this. What was I going to say? Obviously, the key part here is for the LP providers. They're going to earn high APRs. That's kind of the idea there. And you can see the yields 511, 323. And these other peers that are all popping up with different yields. So that's the key thing. That's the driver. That's the incentive to get people providing LP. And there's lots of assets sitting on Pulsechain just sitting there, not doing LP. So, there is a lot of upside to growing that and turn all their TVL volume, etc., all up and on the up. Particularly if Pulsechain moves up. That's kind of a couple of things there. And Brandon's continuing to roll out new pairs and new features and things like that. So I guess that's the play. All right, so that is Switch from Brandon. one of our top influencers there, and that is we should see this pop up under the DEXs eventually, I'm sure. Must be coming not too far away. All right, so where are we going? We're going back here, and I think we're going back one more time. Let's go to the top here, and we're going to go all the way back down the bottom here and see what is not doing so great today. Well, SCADA from Net Supply is down 12.8%. Let's have a look at where that is on the charts. Down a bit here. We're up at almost half a cent, and we're down at 0.2 of a penny. So let's have a quick look at the measure there. The US cents, that's down 54%. So a bit of profit taking after that big run up, nice run up, but profit taking there 54%. And looking at the ratio there, still looking pretty good on the ratio, but obviously down quite a bit from the high. But that played out real nicely. Look at that. Woo! We're down about 53% on the ratio, but still up quite significantly from the sort of the low there. Still up 321%, so 4.2x in Pulse ratio. Still on the money there. So that's not bad still, even though it's down today. World's greatest PDI printer from OG WebShift down 12%. RH Pepe, a recent meme coin launch there, down 8%. PTC the Grey is down 7% there on these peers. 9mm. So 9mm, we just looked at SwitchX, right? 9mm is paying out their profits every month to the holders, right? And they've also got NFT revenues as well, multi-chain. Most of it Pulsechain, but the multi-chain offerings. And they've done a great job with that. And they're sitting at 1.1 cent. Their market 1.1 million, which is, whether we're comparing apples and apples here, but they're still both DEXs essentially. And one's V3, one's V4. And the market cap's half on SwitchX right now. And that's only just launched. So, got to give it a few weeks / few months, right? But at least a few weeks. It gets established itself as a key player. But it's got all the right features there, especially with Brandon leading it. So kind of cool. 1.1 cents at the moment, ticking away there. The Pulse ratio already moving, right? Already moving. We've talked about that. Let's go to the weekly on this. And typically, what we talked about the Pulsechain chart earlier, that if we do get a reversal, we find the bottom at 7,000, and we start getting an uptrend. That DEXs should be one of the first things that we rate because they're getting all the volume passing through, earning the fees, etc. So that's the logic there. We see it in past cycles as well, and we've only got a couple of DEXs on Pulsechain essentially. So we're at 1,500, so it's already moving. So we're going to keep a lookout for that, and they're earning yield there too. It's kind of cool. All right, so that's kind of cool. We've got dominance from OG WebShift down 6%. We're talking about 9mm. We've got Swarm here down 4% here as well for Investor. OG WebShift down 3.8%, sitting at $1.06. It's a bit lower than what we've seen recently. BFF, OG WebShift down 3.6%. Curve tied into the real estate one down 3.6%. And Coin Mafia sitting down 3% at $1.88. Coin launching site from Rack and Rochelle. We got Firewhale Solid X down 3% there. Had a little bit of a move. He's also sponsored that sports thing. What's it? The ice skate? Is it ice skate boxing? Ice skating boxing? I think that's the one. That B Roots has been talking about. Smorg down 2.5% as well. So that's kind of the tokens here. Now I wanted to get onto True Farm, so we might as well do that. True Farm, of course, is from Neil and Daniel, and this has been exciting. I've been really enjoying this. So obviously the price is down here on the weekly, down to 60 cents. Let's have a look at the let's go look at the True Farm website and have a look at the yields right now. It's also offering pretty good yields. So we're going to go to the farm. Now they've got multiple products in this ecosystem, right? So they've got the 2x miner. They got the essentially part of that platform is an investment fund called the SRE, and that's played a pretty key role. And then I've also got the farms, their first DeFi. They think they've got something else coming down the track as well. But they've been pretty exciting on Pulsechain, like pretty exciting. So let's all look at the moment. We've got the market cap at $750,000 right now. We got the APR is at 143%, which is about 0.25% a day of your capital back as income. 1.7% per week, 7.7% per month, and 143% per year at the current rate. Now that's single side staking, so you put True Farm in and you earn the yield and EDI, so you're earning EDI, guys, and they've got $500,000 in there at the moment, so that's kind of the value. True Farm is matched with Pulse and all the Richard cores. They're also offering pretty good yields over 100%. You can see there, holding on. True Farm ProofX is 150%, so it's pretty juicy, pretty good. And then they've got obviously Emmet Farm in here, Pulsex community tokens, including RhinoFi, Hero, Tetra, and that's pretty cool. So they don't have as many yet, but that's an area for growth for them, is to build up more of the top projects on there and offer yields, attract more attention, more users, all that good stuff. And of course, they feed the profits. They're probably sitting in a pretty good position on the EDI and putting profits into the 2x miners on True DeFi, right, which is up here. You can check out all those as well. 2x miners, 2x your pulse is the idea of that. Neil's got an update, so let's quickly look at that. So he's put that out just earlier, about an hour ago, I think. 1.41 billion pulse distributed to miners today, so kind of cool. This is a result of proper design and implementation. The True DeFi ecosystem yield services exist to help users and platforms grow their position. So I kind of see it like a managed fund, 2x your pulse kind of idea. They got 51,218 miners. I wonder how many of this are system miners. It's day 147 in the auction, so they've been running 5 months essentially. Pretty cool. Total deposits, these are all sources, so you got a 435 billion pulse, all sources, a lot, I guess, recompounding and stuff like that as well. PLS distributed today 1.41 billion, pretty good though. Exciting times. Top X Factor days, annual percentage rate. So top X Factor, I guess, is the best day, best returns. Day 28, 29, 27 were the best days there. So that is from Neil Fatish's with the old True 2X, which is pretty innovative. So as you see, we've kind of covered the top farms, in terms of yield, APRs, Emmet Farm, True Farm. We've covered some of the top DeFis recently, ZKP, MegaDAO, True 2X. These are some of the exciting stuff happening on Pulsechain right now. And they often are at the top of the, not always, but often at the top of the deck screener move there. So kind of cool. Now, I don't know if I posted Neil, but we'll post that for Neil there as well. Give him a follow. And you can go investigate True 2X. They got one of the most vibrant communities too. So Emmet Farm, True 2X, they've really got some of the most happening communities on Pulsechain right now. So definitely well worth checking out. All right, kind of cool. All right, so that's pretty much it. How we're doing for time? We're up to an hour and 7. Man, I was only planning on like 45 minutes. How about that? We have gone way over time there. But that is essentially the charts today. So should we summarize? Let's summarize, shall we? And so summarize there. We've got the big announcements for Bitcoin with Strategy on Monday. We'll get their weekly update. They on the 19th they have to, which is the day after, I believe, they have to pay down the convertibles at 1.5 billion. I think that was 8 billion was the amount of debt. I think it was 8 convertible, 8.5. It was either 10 or 8.5. Let me just see whether I've got that debt page. Yeah, so convertibles is well, the notional value is 8.2 billion. Market value is 8.8 billion, and they were retiring. They got different ones from year 2028 through the 2032 convertible notes, and they're retiring a big chunk of the essentially at 1.5 billion of the 2029 convertibles. So that's big news, guys. So their currently notional value is 3 billion. But the market value is 2.7. So they're going to save a couple $100 million by paying back that debt. That's really good. So they're going to pay half of that. So which was more than half because it's worth less. So that's a good move from Strategy. And also they will announce their Bitcoin purchases, which will still be pretty aggressive, even if they use the money from that to pay back down these. So they'll still probably have a disclosure. 25K was kind of the estimate. So if they're using 3/5 of the money, then they still may have a 10,000 Bitcoin. We'll see how they play that out, but that's kind of the logic here. We'll see what funds they use, but that's still hyper bullish for Bitcoin generally, and we'll see how the market goes with that. And then we also got the Bitminer Vision announcement on Monday too, with their results, and maybe they bought 90K if that buy yesterday was them. So we'll see about that too. That will be, I guess, a more bullish thing in some ways. We'll keep looking at the see if we bounce the Bitcoin bounces on the 50-day moving average, and that drags ETH up as well. And that's a short-term play right now. Take a couple of weeks for the Clarity Act to move through to the floor, as it does all the, I guess, the amendment write-ups and things like that. And that's kind of where we are. So keep a lookout, guys. That's some of the key stuff there. And we'll see if Pulsechain managed to break out at some stage, maybe dragged up by the rest of the market in June. We shall see. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Take care, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, hit the bell, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care, and bye for now. Oh, by the way, Monster Thread's coming out tomorrow. Monster Thread number 54. All right, cheers.